Welcome back. You're still tuned in to News and Views with myself, Salailo Makwidiri. And I think the headlines right now are still the events of overnight. Iran launching over 180 ballistic missiles targeting Israel, marking a significant escalation into the conflict. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed retaliation, warning Tehran of severe consequences. And these attacks follow Israel's major ground incursion into southern Lebanon, sparking fears of a broader Middle Eastern conflict involving Lebanon, Gaza, Syria, and Yemen. Iran's president defended the strikes as a response to Zionist aggression, while global leaders urge a ceasefire to prevent further violence. We have experts on the ground in Yemen, Gaza, and Jenin to break down the situation. And in a bit, we'll be speaking to one of those experts. We'll be speaking to a lecturer at the University College of Applied Sciences-Gaza and a researcher in the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, Abeer Barakat, who'll be giving us how these crucial events may affect the dynamics of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Well, not even conflict, but aggression by the Israeli occupying forces and the broader regional context. We'll be discussing the recent developments, their impact on Gaza, and what they mean for the future of the Palestinian cause. Abeer is joining us via a virtual platform. Abeer, Jazakallah so much for joining us. Welcome to Salam Media. Really appreciate you giving us your time.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
I think first and foremost, just a quick reaction to last night's events from Gaza's point of view. Seeing the headlines, seeing how there's seemingly a tethering of an escalation to what Gaza has already been experiencing, which is a genocide essentially. But it looks like the whole region of the Middle East is on a cusp of instability and full-blown conflict.
Yes, you are right. Yesterday was a bit of a surprise for all of us here in Gaza. I was on the phone with my aunt, who is now who migrated to the south after their home has been destroyed. So they were fleeing from the gunfire and everything. So while I was talking to her, suddenly we could hear that people were shouting and saying Allahu Akbar, and children were very joyful. We didn't know what happened until she said, "Look at the sky! Look at the sky! The sky is on fire! Rockets are falling on Israel! Everybody's saying Iran is sending its missiles." So I immediately ran to see on TV, and I saw the headlines on Al Jazeera that Iran is taking retaliation. Everybody here in Gaza, also Gaza, northern Gaza, so everywhere in the south or in the north was in joy. Children were shouting, very happy to see missiles falling and rockets falling for the first time, although it's not supposed to be something happy, given the fact that we have been receiving all kinds of missiles, and it's killing people and destroying buildings. However, I was not very happy to see that. To be honest with you, for me, I thought that this kind of retaliation that Iran just took is only for its dignity, for its honor. It's for what happened to Hezbollah. It's not for Gaza, actually, or for the sake of all the Palestinians. We have been going under this genocide for one whole year, and nobody has moved except the Yemen, Hezbollah recently, and Iraq. They had some kind of shy attempts to to seek some justice for us, and everybody was warning Israel to stop its genocide. They are warning them by, for example, for Yemen, when they were stopping the sailing in the Red Sea. They were very clear: stop the war in Gaza and we will stop what we are doing. When Hezbollah was also throwing rockets, they said, stop what's happening in Gaza and we will stop our rockets. But Israel won't stop. They continue with the genocide. They didn't listen to the International Court of Justice when South Africa, thanks for them, they were taking legal actions. So, and Iran was, making some kinds of these threats, but nobody expected that Iran would do anything, because they are also afraid for their interests in the region. They are afraid of what the US would do to them. And everybody can see that within one strike, one strike falling on Lebanon, 500 casualties were gone in one day and even in a few hours. So yes, everybody is afraid. So what I thought of these rockets, about 168 or something like that, it's just a way to scare Israel, if you can say it. And if you look at the news or look for anything that's leaking from the Israeli news, they try to cover up any kind of damage, whether happening to the buildings or casualties or things like that. And we have used to the Israeli media. We know that for ages that they never give you the right number of their casualties or damages or the losses. They always hide it, and they have this unanimous and agreed media and censorship that nothing can be leaked out of the media until the media department of the Israeli media department would allow it to go out to the media. So what I can say is that we don't know the right number of the damage, although we hope that after throwing about 100 plus rockets on Israel, it's supposed to be huge damage. If you can see what happened in Gaza, when the Israelis only threw 10 missiles in Gaza, the damage is very huge. The casualty number is very big. So why can't we see that on Israel? Why can't we just see this kind of, damage everywhere and destruction everywhere? Everybody is waiting to see that, but it didn't happen. And if you follow the Israeli media, everybody was saying that this is nothing happened. They want to scare us, but nothing will happen, and we are going to retaliate on our way. So now what we think is that we are sitting on a hot steam pot here in this area. We imagine that more retaliation will happen from Yemen, from Iraq, Lebanon. I don't know if they can wake up from what happened to them. However, we think that more is going to happen. We think that the war in Gaza is not going to stop right now. It's even getting worse. And actually, last night was one of the hottest nights here in Gaza. Bombardment from the Israeli side didn't stop a bit. We could hear the tanks bombardment, bullets from the Apache everywhere. It's like they are retaliating on the Palestinian civilians in the Gaza Strip. So what do we expect will happen? We expect more to happen. We expect that Israel will retaliate from everybody around. It's not going to be only a war in Gaza. And the hostages that Israel is claiming that this war is to free them are forgotten. And that's why the Israeli community now is in a great frustration. I think that people in Israel are far more angry with their prime minister, and maybe you will see more protests in the streets if they are allowed to stay in the streets, because now everybody is afraid and they are hiding in trenches under the ground.
I want to, track a bit back to something that you mentioned. You mentioned that, Iran's, events of last night are not necessarily for Palestine, but it's for their own self-interest, it's for their own integrity. But why do it when the consequences could be so big for them? Israel said that they would retaliate, and Iran would obviously, suffer the consequences of their actions. America itself is saying they also, have planned sanctions and consequences for Iran. So was it worth it if it's not for Palestine and for the impunity that Israel has gone about their business unabated in the region? The assassination of Hezbollah leaders, the assassination of several, government officials from Iran, from Lebanon, and from Gaza. Why did they do it if it's not for exactly what the Israeli government is doing in Gaza and in the region generally?
Yeah, why they do it now? If you ask this question, you will find the answer. We have been under this genocide for one whole year. And a lot of the Palestinian leaders and a lot of the civilians, a huge number, over 40,000 plus civilians were killed, lost their lives. Gaza has gone back to the Stone Age right now. Why now? Why did Iran throw its rockets when Hezbollah is actually experiencing massive losses in life and massive losses in in their infrastructure and in the buildings, and even Israel is now threatening to have the land incursion. So when you ask this question, you will find that the answer is that when Iran found out that its biggest ally in the region, Hezbollah, is going to is actually maybe it's going to be dismantled. We don't know, because the huge losses that Hezbollah has experienced within 2 days only is very huge. So
Mm.
that's why Iran interfered. Why didn't Iran retaliate when Haniya, the leader of Hamas, has been assassinated in one of its most protected buildings? Why didn't retaliate? We waited for retaliation at that time, but it didn't happen. They said we will retaliate when we have the time and when we think it's suitable, but they didn't. So that's why this is my personal opinion and this is my personal reading. I think other people and other experts will have other opinion than what I have said. They might say no, it's good, we are happy that they joined right now. Whether they would say it's better to come late than not never to come. And
Mm.
but to look at the bright side, let's say we still thank Iran for what they did, even if it is late, because we need someone to stop this madness in the Middle East. We want someone to stop this monster that's called Israel from continuing this genocide. And we are deeply sorrowed and sad to see what happened in Lebanon, because Israel now is repeating the same scenario they did in Gaza within this whole year. So we are very sad to see what's happening in Lebanon. And believe me, everybody here is crying for what's happening. When we look at the news, it brings tears to our eyes, because this is the same thing as when the war started. So we don't want to see that happening in Lebanon. We don't want to see that happening in Syria or any other Arab country around us, God forbid, because we are all brothers, we are all Muslims, we are supposed to be united. So yes, we are happy that Iran retaliated right now. We hope that this will stop Israel from having more crimes committed against our neighbors and more crimes committed against Palestine, and here, especially in Gaza. We hope that this will stop the genocide in Gaza, not to expand the struggle. Because what's happening, Israel said, the Prime Minister Netanyahu said that I'm fighting 7 fronts when he
Mm.
stood up in the United Nations. And this means he wants to expand this struggle. It's not like he wants to contaminate it and stop it, and even stop the reason for all of this. So what will happen the next days, I think nobody can expect, but I think Israel will go further than that, because they consider it as the war of their existence on this region. So and with the aid of the United States, it's going to continue, because the United States is giving them a plain check with all kinds of weapons, all kinds of funds, etc. And even they are sending their chips to the Middle East, which means that it's not only to protect Israel and to allow it to, as they said and claim, to allow Israel to protect itself and its existence. I think they want to expand and keep their interests in the region. And for the whole time, they have been saying that Iran is the scarecrow in the area. They have been saying that Iran is the biggest threat to the region. Maybe now Israel and the US will consider that this is the golden chance for them to wage a huge attack on Iran. So that's why Iran didn't take any action from the beginning of this genocide to aid Gaza, because it is scared for its own interests and its own safety. But when Hezbollah was attacked, this means that its arm in the Middle East is being attacked, and it will, of course, pose a threat to its whole interest in the region, including Syria and Yemen.
All right. Unfortunately, we have run out of time up here. Thank you so much for your analysis. And I'm sure as the situation does continue, you and I will be chatting and trying to unpack. I think a very very volatile situation in the region. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Assalamu alaikum.
You're most welcome. Alaikum salam.
Well, there you have it. Abeer Barakat coming to us live from Gaza, giving a rather unexpected reaction, asking the question, why now? Why do it now? It has been almost a year since the 7th of October. Israel has sent boots on the ground in Lebanon, essentially. Why was Iran waiting all this time? Why do it now? What's so special about doing it at this current moment? And I think maybe the answers are exactly that. The fact that it's been a year into this escalation by the Israeli occupying forces, they've went on a whole almost 365 days unabated, 12 months now. And I think secondly, the fact that they're expanding their aggression into Lebanon and attacking and assassinating Hezbollah leaders who are very, very closely linked and are supported by Iran. So I think the answers might as well be in the questions. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're still sticking with yesterday's events and getting reactions from different parts of the Middle East. And we'll be getting a reaction from Israel itself. We'll be speaking to Al Quds based director of Israeli Committee Against House Demolitions, Professor Jeff Halper, who'll be giving us the reaction from an Israeli point of view about yesterday's events. More on that after the short break. You're listening to News and Views on Salam Media.